Billion-dollar companies don't just collapse overnight, or do they? The shocking truth is that one bad decision from a CEO can send a company crashing down in days. These aren't small errors. We're talking about choices that erased billions in value and left thousands jobless. Some of these CEOs were once called geniuses and visionaries, but one terrible choice changed everything. And the last CEO mistake on our list? It's so bad it landed someone in prison for 11 years. That's right, from boardroom to jail cell with just one decision. 10. Elon Musk, Tesla. When Elon Musk got bored with Tesla and started spending all his time on Twitter X and his other companies, Tesla shareholders paid the price. While he was busy posting online and starting fights, Tesla's value dropped 45% from its highest point. That's hundreds of billions of dollars gone because one man couldn't focus. Investors who once worshipped Musk started questioning his decisions. Was he still the genius they thought? Or just another CEO with too much power and not enough focus? Even Wall Street analysts who had praised him for years began downgrading Tesla stock. The truth is, even a genius like Musk can't run several huge companies at once while staying active on social media all day. Sometimes the smartest move is sticking to what made you successful in the first place. 9. Richard White, WiseTech Global. Over in Australia, Richard White built WiseTech into a logistics software giant. But success went to his head. White started making deals that benefited himself while buying up smaller companies left and right. Soon, people who owned shares started asking questions. Market watchdogs began looking closer at his actions. It turns out that running a public company means you need to play by the rules, no matter how successful you think you are. Being open about how you run things isn't just nice, it's what keeps investors trusting you. 8. Han Zhong-hee, Samsung Electronics. While companies like Nvidia and Apple were going all in on AI, Samsung's Han Zhong-hee sat back and watched. Big mistake. In the fast-moving tech world, waiting even a few months can put you years behind. Samsung was slow to jump on AI trends, and they paid for it as their market position suffered. The simple lesson? In tech, if you're not moving forward quickly, you're falling behind even faster. Sometimes the worst mistake is just not making a decision. 7. Masayoshi Son, SoftBank. Some people have too much money and not enough common sense. That's Masayoshi Son with his Vision Fund at SoftBank. He threw billions at startups without checking if their business plans made any sense. The result? A massive $27 billion loss in just 1 year. His biggest bets like WeWork and Didi fell apart completely. Son once compared himself to Jesus Christ and said he had a 300-year vision for his company. But it turns out even visionaries need to do their homework. He would often make billion-dollar investment decisions after meeting founders for less than an hour. One time, he invested $2 billion in a company after a 28-minute meeting. That's over $70 million per minute. Son proved that having tons of money doesn't make you smart about how to spend it. The basic step of checking if a business can actually make money matters, even when you're playing with billions. 6. Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes didn't just make a business mistake, she flat out lied. She told everyone her company Theranos could run hundreds of tests from a tiny drop of blood. The problem? The technology didn't work at all. Holmes had created a perfect image. The black turtlenecks like Steve Jobs, the unusually deep voice, the compelling story about fear of needles. She got famous investors like Henry Kissinger and George Shultz on her board. Even Walmart and Safeway signed huge deals to use her technology in their stores. But behind the scenes, Theranos was using regular machines from other companies and diluting blood samples to run tests, often giving wrong results to real patients. A company once worth $9 billion dropped to zero, and Holmes ended up with an 11-year prison sentence. The lesson couldn't be simpler. Don't lie about what your product can do, especially when people's health is on the line. 5. Steve Ballmer, Microsoft. Remember the first iPhone? Steve Ballmer, then CEO of Microsoft, laughed at it. He said, "There's no chance the iPhone is going to get any significant market share." He even mocked its $500 price tag and lack of a keyboard. That laugh cost Microsoft the entire smartphone revolution. Ballmer was so focused on protecting Windows and Office that he couldn't see the mobile future coming right at him. Microsoft actually had tablet prototypes and smartphone technology years before Apple, but they never took them seriously. While Ballmer was laughing, Steve Jobs was changing the world. By the time Microsoft realized their mistake, it was too late. They tried with Windows Phone, but app developers didn't care. They spent $7.2 billion buying Nokia's phone business in a desperate attempt to catch up, only to write off the entire amount later. While Apple and Google built trillion-dollar businesses around mobile, Microsoft's phone captured less than 1% of the market before they gave up. The lesson? Don't make fun of new ideas just because they're different from what you're selling now. What seems ridiculous today might be tomorrow's gold mine. 4. John Sculley, Apple. Back in 1985, Apple CEO John Sculley made the worst personnel decision in tech history. He forced out Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. During the years without Jobs, Apple nearly went bankrupt as their market share dropped from 16% to just 4%. When Jobs returned in 1997, he transformed Apple into the most valuable company in the world. The simple truth? Sometimes one person really is that important to a company's success, and letting ego get in the way can be a multi-billion-dollar mistake. 3. Bob Chapek, Disney. When Bob Chapek took over Disney, he decided cutting costs was more important than making good content. He reorganized everything around streaming while slashing budgets and making enemies of Disney's creative talent. The guy who replaced the legendary Bob Iger seemed to forget what made Disney special in the first place: stories and experiences that people love. Instead, he focused on numbers and spreadsheets. He even got into a very public fight with Scarlett Johansson over her Black Widow pay, making Disney look like the bad guy. Park visitors noticed changes too. Prices went up while the experience got worse. Cast members, that's what Disney calls employees, started talking openly about how the magic was dying. The results were terrible. Disney Plus stopped growing, employees were unhappy, and Disney's stock fell 45% while he was in charge. Disney's board finally brought back former CEO Bob Iger to fix things. The basic lesson? In businesses built on creativity, you can't just cut your way to success. The people who make the magic matter. 2. Travis Kalanick, Uber. Travis Kalanick built Uber with a growth-at-any-cost mindset. This created a workplace filled with harassment and rule-breaking. Soon, the Delete Uber movement went viral, cities started banning the service, and Kalanick was forced to resign. The work culture he created didn't just hurt employees, it nearly killed the company. What a CEO allows to happen inside a company eventually shows up on the outside too. 1. Adam Neumann, WeWork. The king of all CEO mistakes has to be Adam Neumann at WeWork. Neumann took a basic office rental business and somehow convinced investors it was worth $47 billion. The problem? They lost money on every single location. When WeWork tried to go public, investors finally looked at the actual numbers and ran away fast. The value crashed to under $5 billion, and Neumann was kicked out. The hard truth? You can talk a big game and have all the charisma in the world, but eventually, a business needs to actually make money. So what can we learn from these huge fails? Even super successful leaders can destroy everything when they get distracted from their main business, skip doing basic research, miss big changes in the market, grow too fast without a solid plan, let their ego make decisions. The funny thing is, most of these CEOs probably thought they were making the right choice at the time. That's the scary part about being in charge. Sometimes you don't realize your mistake until it's too late. As Warren Buffett once said, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. These CEOs proved that statement true in the most expensive way possible. But there's good news too. For every CEO disaster story, there are success stories where leaders made the right call under pressure. The CEOs who win in the long run keep their eyes on the business, check their facts, change when they need to, and remember that no one is too important to follow the rules. What do you think? Could you have avoided these mistakes if you were in charge? Or would you have fallen into the same traps? It's easy to judge from the outside, but leading a huge company comes with pressures most of us will never understand. If you found this breakdown interesting, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that breaks down big business moves in simple terms. Which CEO mistake do you think was the worst? Drop a comment below. I read them all. See you next time.